Welcome back to another episode of Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutalis on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Zach, go by Nitro Zeus on Discord.
This is Josh, I go by Grumozog on Discord.
And this is CJ, I go by some form of CJ on Discord.
Okay, what is Grumelzag? I didn't know that you were going to introduce yourself as Grumelzag.
So, a long time ago, in my very first time playing a tabletop RPG, I love orcs in all their forms, and I was playing an orc barbarian, and I had to come up with a name, and I was like, just could not think of it. Everything. I was like sitting reading my Warhammer novels, looking at orc names, and then out of nowhere, I was just like, Grumelzog. Got it. And I have just used it for, it's been 20 years now, probably, for everything. So,
yeah, nice. Alrighty. Well, why don't you guys take turns introducing yourself so people who know who you are. Let's start with Zach.
My name's Zach. Again, go by Nitro Zeus on Discord. I've been playing MCP now with these guys for probably about 2.5 years. This is actually my first tabletop game, and for probably the last 6 or 8 months, been just playing Wakanda. Just recently was able to get the title of King of Wakanda, so that's awesome. And just kind of looking forward to seeing what else is out there next. Maybe looking at the new Inhumans.
my name's Josh. Like I said, I go by Grumozog. I've been playing tabletop games for a while now. I started with Warhammer Fantasy and the Battle for Blackfire Pass box. And then I played 40K. I believe I started in like 5th edition. Played some of that. I've played Age of Sigmar. Played a ton of the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. And then, like Zach said, we've been playing MCP for 2.5 years now, I believe.
And I'm CJ. I go by CJ mostly. If you find a CJ type name, that's me. Yeah, I've been playing with. I'm not going to echo that we've been playing this game for 2.5 years. But starting off, Josh is actually the one who got me into tabletop games. We started off with Warhammer, and I've followed him into basically every single endeavor, for better or for worse. And then we're I've played all types and forms of war games since then. So
very cool. All right. So, for those unaware, there was a small event that happened over the weekend. I believe it was called Adepticon. It's just, like 5,000 or 6,000 people that like to play war games. It's pretty cool. This is the first year it was in Milwaukee, if anyone was unaware. They finally moved venues because they have outgrown their previous space a few times over almost. This is probably the largest war games con you guys have been to. Have you been to any other gaming cons?
I've been to Warfare Weekend a couple years ago, but otherwise this was my first one.
False. We went to the Rocky Mountain Open. That was technically a con. There's a lot of different games there.
You are correct.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Open. We've traveled for tournaments, but this is the biggest one we've been to. So.
Oh yeah, by far.
Well, it is the biggest one. So
yeah, in the States it is for sure, right?
Yeah. WTC, I think. Yeah, I mean, it has noticeably less people, but everyone is gaming as opposed to like hanging out or doing vendors or whatever. And so I think it is it's very comparable in like the size of organization. All right. So let's see. Parker, you like Adepticon, right?
Adepticon is the only thing anyone who likes war games should do. Brandon and I actually had a conversation late, was it like Sunday night or something, and I was thinking about anyone who likes war games and not going to Adepticon, and just what a terrible shame it is. Specifically, we were talking about a couple of people who was like, oh, I had this to do or I had that to do, so I didn't go to Adepticon. And I, coming from someone who has kids and a life outside of gaming, very much so, I couldn't imagine not reserving those like 3 or 4 days to experience what Adepticon is. It is not only, I wish I could say it's so much fun. It is just, it's so much density of the hobby there in an incredible way, right? It's like the variety and the nonstop people who all are excited to talk to you about miniatures games. And it doesn't matter if it's a game you love or a new game you've never heard of before. Everyone is so excited about miniatures games. The energy is amazing. I I love just like sitting in halls, just any halls. Everybody just is smiling. Everybody's just happy to be celebrating this thing together. I think it's the number one thing in wargaming, miniatures gaming. I can't imagine. I can't imagine playing a game and never going and feeling like you've seen miniatures gaming. It is the pinnacle of the achievement. You may not ever get to go, but if you don't get to go, it means you didn't get to experience what it could be.
So that is the kind of ramble I told you guys to try and avoid. So in the future, just
no, that was
Parker.
Nope. I'm here for this. This is what I'm here for.
Exposition.
This is my brand. It defines who I am.
This is what you put me.
You're
here
good for at least one or two every episode.
Yeah.
With me and Parker actually hanging out, and we actually chatted with the guy who organizes the whole thing, Hank. He's a cool guy. He's generally very tired this time of year, so he's probably the only person of Adepticon weekend that sleeps less than I do.
Understandable. That's I mean, Jesus, I couldn't imagine running the whole thing. That's got to be a big plate.
If you ever get a chance to meet him, super humble guy. Like he is.
Yeah, he's a really good dude.
Like you would never know to see him at the con because he's just standing there with his bottle of water, just looking at things and just like happy that everybody's doing. Of course, he's secretly puppeteering hundreds of people, but
he's so happy because everywhere he looks that he doesn't see an active fire. He's glad. He's like, thank God.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this room isn't on fire yet. Thank God. Like,
I was literally about to say, as long as it's not on fire, I think he should consider it a success.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you've like you can go tour the facility and like have them show you all the rooms and everything, but until you see it filled with all the stuff you've planned, it's hard to really know how it's going to go. Or you go, oh, they were supposed to have this many tables and they were wrong, and so now like, you know, the War Machine room doesn't have any tables, and we're like, oh shit. Or like, hey, you know, like we paid for water service, but they didn't give us water, like, you know, like trying to fix all that shit day of, and it's like you can only do so much. All right, let's see. Let's jump right into the MCP side of things. So let's talk about what you guys brought and what you were hoping to do with it. So, Parker, what did you bring? And did you do your patented Parker move of change your list day of?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't.
You owe me money.
I took Beth's podcast before we left, wondering like what is the chances of me just switching at the last minute. And I thought about it. I thought about it sincerely, but honestly, I ran out of time to make and change something new. And I was excited to bring Hulkbuster and Sam was the combo in Avengers, and the plan was to play Hulkbuster as much as possible. I played Hulkbuster every single round, so. That's what I did, and I was excited. I'm glad that I did. Play nothing but Hulkbuster.
Cool.
I think you got some compliments on that too, didn't you? Didn't you have people like telling you that they hadn't played against him or were so happy to see him? Or
yeah, a lot of people were very pleasantly surprised until like the opening moves, and they're like, "Oh, I can't do anything." Like he just pushes me everywhere. I go, "Yeah, it's gonna be hard. Let's play." It was.
I do think Hulkbuster is one of the most slept on models in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and not because like no one plays him, but like he is a valuable piece. Like what he does to the game is very good stuff, and it's just like no one gives him a chance. Even though like he's probably not the best model, and there's probably better 6-point options, but like he's so fun to play with. His kit is so well designed that it works seamlessly within itself, and so I really wish more people would put him on the table.
I mean,
I think about putting.
He's sorry, Zach. I think he's one of the best looking models they've made too. That also helps.
Yeah, I think he was hands down the best model until Immortal Hulk came out, and now there's a couple question marks, but he's definitely in the top tier.
I've only ever been on the receiving end, and every time I'm just like, okay, we got to deal with this, and then I don't, and then Parker does bad things to me. I'm like, oh, okay.
No one tried to attack him the entire tournament. Not one list tried to hurt him. It was really interesting. People just chose to ignore him, and at their peril. So it was fun.
Interesting. Is that the answer though? Is to attack? I mean, he's sturdy, but not like super sturdy.
He's stout.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people think that like defensive dice really matter to like, you know, being survivable. Defensive dice are nice, but they're definitely not reliable at all. hit points and damage reduction is like the true way to stay alive, and then distance, like staying out of attack range, obviously. Hulk can kind of do all three, which is nice. Like he can reposition out of way with hit and run. He can push people out of attack range. He can throw them away, and then he also has damage reduction. Not the best damage reduction, but solid. And then also having decent defensive dice on top of it. And so he's definitely not the toughest model in the game, but he's very stout.
There's something else going on in the game right now, and I was being facetious when I said he never got attacked. He did get attacked, but no one ever like focused him down, right? Which is what you have to do to a model with that many hit points. You have to commit a lot. But in the game right now, because fights are so much more spread out than they used to be, there's a really good chance you could play a 4 rounds in a tournament and never have the opportunity to sit and fight the Hulkbuster, because you only ever have 1 or 2 models actually going up against him. And so people don't commit because they go, well, I can't knock down the Hulkbuster with my 1 3-pointer, so I'm not going to bother.
Lizard love tapping Hulkbuster is not going to accomplish anything.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's move on to our guests. I do have one question for you guys before you get started. Did you put yourselves down as Community Infamous on your registration? I need to know.
No. I don't think so. I think we in the tournament.
Fucking dead to me.
We have matching Harvester's tattoos.
If there's a sub-faction, I'll put that down.
Yeah, we're a sub-faction of Infamous. That's a great way to put it.
Just have brighter jerseys.
Yeah, we didn't really specifically say it, but I think a lot of people have figured out. The Harvesters, as they prefer to be called, are part of our local meta. They're the uppity new guys. They're trying to take over the geekery.
We love it. We love them trying to take over.
Yeah.
We want
so Zach, I heard you took a new kind of list that you haven't played before and took it to Adepticon. How'd that go?
It was brand new. The biggest change was Killmonger Usurper made the list unironically. Continued playing Wakanda like I have for the last 6 months. Trying to fight, run to the middle as fast as we can, so every crisis was honed in on how to make you run towards the midline, towards King T'Challa and Red Skull 2. Had a great time fighting everyone and having a bunch of stalemates of, I don't want to pick that up and you don't want to pick that up, so we'll just leave points on the ground before anybody gets punched. So that was a fun time.
Nice.
Zach, did you actually run Usurper in any of those matches?
Yes.
I did in one particular matchup against an opponent that did not have a lot of fun with it, I think.
Foreshadowing.
All right, Josh, what did you bring?
So I brought Guardians of the Galaxy. I had been working on a Winter Guard list with Malekith for about 3 months, and then AMG said E's no longer exists, and I went, so Winter Guard no longer exists. And then I looked at all the painting I did, and I was like, I have no time to paint. I am the world's slowest painter. So I looked in my case, and I was like, well, it was either S.H.I.E.L.D., which I'd been toying around with that hadn't really been working, Avengers, which I really wasn't feeling, or Guardians. And so I picked Guardians and had a lot of fun with Nova, but we'll do breakdowns later of that.
And lastly, I brought MODOK-led Crime Syndicate with a Kingpin option, which I played MODOK in the last TTS League and had a blast with him and Abomination. They're just so fun together. They're like the perfect combo until somebody brings somebody to throw somebody. And throwing A-Bomb has been the downside of that list for sure. He's a lot of fun when you throw him into people, but when he gets thrown back at you, then, I don't want to take my toys home and play somewhere else.
MODOK definitely seems like somebody who doesn't like fair play. That definitely seems true. Alrighty. So let's get to the event. You guys, all 4 signed up for Worlds, starting with Thursday, Heat 1. Parker, how was your round 1 go?
So I got to play against Yusuf Babahani, I think is his full name. I think I nailed it. But Yusuf was a great opponent. I had a fantastic time. One of the things I was looking forward to at Adepticon is, high energy play. We were really excited to, just to play MCP, and he definitely brought that energy instantly. So I knew it was going to be a great game no matter what. We played Scientific Samples and Wedding Party. He brought exactly what CJ brought, actually, which is a Kingpin MODOK list. It actually was almost exactly your list, CJ. It was really close.
That's surprising.
Yeah. He had a couple fun things in there, like Loki, Prince of Lies, just not to switch to Asgard, just as a cool kind of tech piece. But he had Abomination in there. A really interesting thing. His primary win, I think, was looking for scenario play, and so with Scientific Samples and Wedding Party, we just kind of went at it. We talked in the previous cast how we were pretty sure Hulkbuster was going to do well on Scientific Samples. He definitely does. Even with Kingpin counting as 2, he didn't have enough to sit on the samples. I was able to keep control of them. He actually managed to eliminate Black Widow very quickly in a way I didn't anticipate, with just like some non-modded attacks, and just kind of did it. And so he did that early on turn 2, and then I immediately went, I guess I'll activate Quicksilver, and I'll attack Taskmaster. One shot. And I go, oh, okay, well, Parker dice happen sometimes, but there's nothing really else to attack here except the mummy, so I'll attack him. One shot. And I go, huh. We both kind of looked at the board, and we're like, well, that happened. Quicksilver just went super speed, and that was a key moment in the match. I wouldn't say it's the whole thing, but that was a key moment, of course.
It was the whole thing.
It was the key moment, flipping over them. So Kingpin didn't work on that side of the board at that point. So I was able to. He did make a good shift, and he actually captured the point the next round with his Black Cat, like just went over there and capped it instead. So it's not as if he was totally out, but that was an important moment. I won 18-17. It was a super close game, and like I said, Yusuf was a great opponent. It was a ton of fun to play.
Cool. All right, next up is Zach. How was your first round?
My first round was a big fist fight in the middle. I played against Joey Jobs. He was playing Midnight Suns. We played on Legacy, Virus, and Fisk at 16, so he went Blade, Immortal Hulk, and Namor. And I kind of got ping-ponged around with Immortal Hulk for a little bit, so that was fun, getting everybody thrown into everybody else. Pivotal turning moment was he was trying to chip damage, I think, T'Challa some, and spiked a big roll and dazed him, and that was able to give me priority for the next round. So I was able to kind of triple stack Jabari Chieftain, Wisdom of the Ancestors, and Wakanda Forever to take Blade off the table and to daze iHulk, but keep priority. So I was able to win 16-9 because I was finally able to kill Immortal Hulk, which was the scariest thing I've ever had to do. But it was a really great game. He was a great opponent, and I think we had a lot of fun fighting back and forth.
Cool. All right, Josh, you're up.
Alrighty, I played a Mr. Jason Birdwell from Illinois. He was a really nice guy. He was playing Midnight Suns into my Guardians. We played Inhumans Deploy Weaponry in Infinity Formula, and it was a interesting game in that A, he was a great opponent, but B, I had the same thing happen. I've been happening in a couple of my games.
We'll have that hat.
Yes.
Hat.
With 4 points from the extract and 4 points from the secure, I basically just counter deployed Nova into Ghost Rider, ran up, grabbed a weaponry, and then moved all my models to one side of the board to just continually score one more than him every turn. And with the killing powder of Guardians, I kind of just swept one flank of the board, and he was having to try and move all of his guys over, but that action economy cost of being able to move, maybe not attack
into a brick,
and then I'm sitting there I have, I don't remember, 3 or 4 range 4 guns. I'm just going to melt you as you come to me. So I ended up scoring 5 in the last round just because he moved guys over. I dazed him, went over and grabbed the weapon, and then just scored out.
Was that a round 3 victory then? You got
no.
16 total?
I think we ended on 4.
Okay.
Because 2, we scored 4, 4, 3.
Ah, that makes sense then.
Or 4, 4, 3, and then
5.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, CJ, you're up.
Nice. My round 1 opponent was Brad Adams from Nashville, I believe. I ran MODOK into Steve Rogers. It was Hammers and Scoundrels, so I think I lost priority, so I picked 20, just so I could bring MODOK and Abomination, as many toys as I could possibly bring. He ran a pretty standard Steve Rogers list. Hulk, Sam, Steve, Shang-Chi, and one or two other characters, maybe Quicksilver, I can't remember. But it was a pretty good game. Brad was a really good opponent. It was actually the kind of tourney game I really like having, where we're both just looking to play the best kind of game. Like, we're both like, oh, hey, actually, did you really mean to do that? Making sure, we're being as sportsmanlike as possible, which shout out Brad for definitely being, very sportsmanlike. Unfortunately, though, he took it away. I think he just went a little bit wider than I did, I think, maybe, and then he was just able to hold on to points a lot easier. Being Steve, he was just like, throw, push, throw.
Yeah.
I think it was 16-11 to him, so it was probably round 3 or 4 when it ended. Anything crazy at this game? I don't think so. A-Bomb had a pretty alright game, but nothing crazy. I did have to fight Shang-Chi for the first time, like the second time I ever played against Shang-Chi, and boy, I think he's really good. Do we know this?
You've never played Shang-Chi before?
Okay, so this is the second time. I played Cass and Shang-Chi once before this, and I killed him with Shadow King.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's so. I'm tempered for the fight. I know how to handle him. I bring Shadow King.
Yeah, that's happened many times in MCP history where people were like, "Oh yeah, I've played against this guy like a dozen times," and it's like, "Yeah, you just like attack him with Wolverine and he dies." They're like, "What?"
It's like there's one counter, auto taking damage.
Yeah, and then it's the reverse too. Some people are terrified of random models. Like Aaron hates Venom more than any other model in the game because he always just has a godlike game against him, and he's like, "I don't know what to do. Like the guy kills me. I don't know what to do about it." And so. Cool. All right, so we went 3-1. Casey went 3-1 round 1. Let's move to round 2.
So in my round 2, I got to play against Jeff Swan, and it was so close to a repeat of round 1. It was kind of bizarre. Jeff Swan was another fantastic guy. I really enjoyed playing him. He was a lot of fun. He was really excited to see Hulkbuster. He was so excited to see Hulkbuster. It was. I think I made his round 2 regardless of what happened in the game because he just couldn't stop talking about how excited he was to see Hulkbuster. He played Criminal Syndicate, Kingpin, although we had a Spider-Foes kicker this time. So I played Crimson with Kingpin twice in a row, which was blast from the past. I used to do that all the time, like 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden I'm doing it again here at Adepticon. But as soon as we flipped over Superpowered Scoundrels, I knew I was going to be ice skating uphill. So I took everything on my list that could push things. I tried really hard. I managed to claw my way back. I think in round 3 he had a pretty good advantage because Kingpin early is so hard to beat in Scoundrels. He was doing a good job of rotating and making sure somebody healthy was always beating me on a point. But I managed to flip it over near the end. I was actually on the lead, I think, at the end of 3. And then he was able to pick it back up, and we scored 18-17 on round 4. And I scored 4 and he scored 6 or something like that. It was a really good game. But literally it was the exact same score as round 1 against Kingpin again, but I lost this one by 1 this time. So
alrighty. Good job. Zach, you played a friend of the show.
I did. Round 2 I played Jeremiah England. He and I have played at a couple different cons. We played at Rocky Mountain last year. We've played in TTS a few times. He's a great opponent. He was running his patented Steve Rogers Avengers. I feel like I've only ever seen him run that. But he was a really great opponent.
He will die on that hill.
He will. He knows what he wants to play. He loves
it. Quit.
We played on Inhuman Weapons and McCrane Crystal. I ended up winning 16-14, but we both...
Wait. A what? A what crystal?
McCrane and Macron, whatever.
Yeah, the Macron crystal.
Yeah, sorry, Parker. I'm not fluent in Shi'ar. I'll work on it. I'm going to call it McCrayon crystal.
McCrayon crystal.
Can you send me that Shi'ar textbook, please?
You guys,
I need to study.
You're twisting the soul here.
It's the Macron crystal, right?
We played on
this
crystals.
From the guy who said Cawdor for 10 years until I fucking showed him an article with pronunciation guide.
It's true. I did not know about the incredibly long history of correct pronunciation in that one game, but you're right. It's Imcron. There we go. Go for it.
All right, I'm sorry.
Crayon Crystal.
Yeah, we played on Crayon Crystals. neither one of us could overflip each other. We had a big brawl like in the corner just on one spot. I think at one point in time there were 6 models basically surrounding one secure, trying to flip it and just fight each other. The game really swung on an opportunity for me to use priority again with Wakanda Forever. That was kind of a something that happened throughout the whole tournament, was getting priority, immediately using Wisdom of the Ancestors and Wakanda Forever to remove a couple models. So I was able to daze Steve, Zemo, Shang-Chi, and no, just those 4 with the first activation of the round, and kind of clean up all the points in a round that put me in a really good spot. He was able to punch back pretty hard, so we ended up with a close one. It was 16-14, I think, at the end of round 4, and it came down to a coin flip on one of the crystals, and Black Widow failed. And so that's really what took it, but it was a really great game, and Jeremiah was a great opponent.
That sounds like a really close game.
Yeah, those crystals are tough when I think they're the roll 1. It's the old this new sword. So you just coin flip and a hope sometimes.
Was this probably one of your closer games of the weekend?
Yeah, it absolutely was. Again, especially trying to flip the contested points, but the back and forth, with Steve bodyguarding, with Shang-Chi and having to be worried about, him throwing me if I couldn't do damage. Movement meant a lot here. So it was very, very tight. And I think in the first 2 rounds in particular, we kind of just pillow fought each other. So it was really slow to ramp up to get any power to even try and flip or take extracts off of people. So we started a little bit slow, and then we had a huge brawl for 2 rounds. And when the smoke settled, I kind of came out on top just because we couldn't overflip those points.
Okay. All right, Josh, you're up next.
All right, round 2, I played a Mr. Zach Morrissey, who is once again a fantastic opponent. He had a super rad, he had made a carrying case for his Apocalypse list, and painted them all to theme. So it was really cool. We played Hammer's Wedding Party, and I got to play my first game with, I believe the model's called Logan the Wolverine. Mm-hmm. And the major thing that happened is I had Prio. Turn 2, Logan has a hammer. It is not Nebula. 1 second. Magic and Apocalypse sitting on my side of the board. Wolverine has no one near him with a winging it token. I proceed to 1-shot Magic and then 1-shot Apocalypse off of a single attack because I rolled 3 crits and wilds, and then I re-rolled 2 because there was no one nearby, and then I re-rolled another 2 because I had winging it. And he goes, "Oh, I've never played against the model before. I didn't know you could do that." And I was like, I'll be honest, I've never played this model. I didn't know you could do that either.
You both are just witnessing AMG game design in real time.
It was just disgusting. So then immediately, I have that whole half of the board. I had moved up Nova, who, once again, I'm going to harp, is a fantastic model, especially in Guardians, with a hammer into the middle. So I was able to kind of range for 7 dice, start pushing his people away, so that it was just Colossus on the other part of the board, and Ronan likes to fight Colossus. He likes to hit him with the hammer. So I ended up taking it 18-15. It was still a pretty close game because Apocalypse woke up very angry, and Logan just kind of wilted right away. But just that huge turn of well, I dazed 2 of your models, and now I can kind of do whatever I want on the other side of the board, helped me sweep it. So
very cool. Alrighty, CJ, what you got for us?
Oh boy, we'll see a trend later with my matches, but my round 2 opponent was Dutch. I can't. He told me his real name, but I don't remember. He said just to call him Dutch. I said, sweet, I can remember that. So I played just Dutch, and Dutch is a Inhuman specialist. He only has played Inhumans. I think he's done a couple Shield games, but he's got a huge amount of Inhumans games. So I was like, cool, awesome. And then some guy came over to me and was like, hey man, do you want to play on stream? I was like, oh, that sounds neat, let's do that. And then I played on the professional casual stream for day 1 for the MCP stuff against Dutch. and it was a ass whipping. He whipped my ass. I was but a young lamb to the slaughter to his very well executed Inhumans gameplay. Dude, if you want to watch an Inhumans masterclass, watch that game. If you want to see me struggle to have any of my characters do any damage or accomplish anything, that's the game to watch. I splashed in Scarlet Spider, and everyone's like, "Oh, neat Scarlet Spider! I don't see him very often," and I found out why. I think turn 2, he threw Abomination with a Master Punch into Black Cat, and she took 5 damage in days. Okay, it was bad. The worst thing is it's recorded. There's evidence of how bad this game went for me. So I just want his Quicksilver moved up, punched Scarlet Spider, and did 3 damage through cover through my Spider Sensory rolls. It was terrible.
Yeah,
it's just like
great Scarlet Spider is.
He does have super speed. Surely he could hit a single Spider-Man, but
he did it.
Yeah.
And then my Scarlet Spider proceeded to tickle him for the rest of the game. So I was like, okay.
I think of it this way: the road up is clear and obvious at this point. There we go.
Yeah,
that's a rough round. I think Inhumans are pretty well set up to deal with specifically Kingpin.
Oh,
but that was a rough game, even regardless.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've gone back and watched the match henceforth, and I'm like, God.
Oh, good.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. If I step in the poopy, I like to make sure to figure out where I stepped into that, and that was definitely a situation if I would have been paying attention more to the game.
Well, it looks like you were being constructive, so that's good.
Oh yeah. I mean, I completely understand where I have to. I should have just wrong roster, wrong deployment, wrong moves. Pretty simple to see.
Alrighty. It looks like we went 2-2 in round 2, so let's go ahead and jump into round 3.
So, my round 3, I played against Eric West, and it was a lot of fun. He's played against Infamous folks before. I couldn't remember if I had played him before. Both of us couldn't. I don't think either of us could remember. But he's definitely played against Infamous folks. We recognized us, and another really great opponent. He was playing Loki, an Asgard list. That son of a bitch. I hate that shit so much. But I was like, you know what? He is a size 2 model, and I have a lot of stuff that pushes size 2. So I am just going to keep him the fuck away from me. And I succeeded at the start of the game. Really, I think on turn 1, I had pushed him almost back using Sam's bouncing shield. I had pushed him like all the way back, almost to his deployment zone. I was like, yeah, get the fuck back there, Loki. And you know what? You take a few damage for trying to come and get my hammer. We're playing on samples. We're playing on samples. I was like, you try to get my sample, Lady Thor. So you take a little damage. And then Mighty Thor is like, okay, hold my beer. And she just one-shotted characters. Just everywhere she looked, just wang, 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 and everything was just falling down. So even though she was just destroying things left and right, my scenario play was able to do pretty darn well. I lost the game, but yet again, I got 16 points and lost. And it was really just because I was scoring really well as I was dying, but I couldn't keep up with the attrition. And eventually they were able, Eric was just able to score a few more points than me. But
good job, Eric.
Yeah.
Good job scoring 16, Parker, even though you played on the M Crayon Crystal. That's surprising that you
tough to score those crayons.
Points.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
The crayons
that's actually, that was the reason why I was in the game, is because he wasn't actually playing that many models, and none of the only one who had any movement tech was Mighty Thor, and she was too busy killing my stuff. So I was actually moving and flipping really well. Like Hulkbuster did great at that.
While your stuff was like, they're like running up to a lever, pulling the lever, and then dying.
Yes.
You're like, thank God.
Yeah, right. And it was exactly that every time. It was like, I was like, okay. And so because of that, I kept in the score, but it really was the scientific samples. When he started killing so many things, his models were able to pick up the samples. And while I kept scoring on Mcron, I couldn't score very well on samples. And so it was
Crayon's a lot easier to score on than scientific samples.
I will say that at this point in the tournament, I felt pretty down because I did not go into the tournament with any interest in being the champion of Adepticon. That was not my goal at all. But right before round 1, I found out that there was something on the prize table that I wanted. No, I didn't want. I needed. They had Adepticon exclusive range rulers that were all X-Men themed, and I've had my range rulers for like 3 or 4 years now. So I was excited to replace them with some badass range rulers. And losing 2 games meant that I probably wouldn't get enough tickets. So I was a little down on round 3, not because my opponents were bad or I had bad games, just because I was like, oh man, I don't know how close these are. So I'll tell you how close I got here at the end, but let's let Zach go.
Build the suspense.
Actually, Josh is next. Josh, how was your next round?
I played some doucher named Magneto is right, Zach Fredenberg.
That guy sounds like a fascist.
Loser.
I've heard of that.
So I'll let him talk about it because he's the more technical player between us two. I wish we would have been on stream.
I only want your opinion.
Okay.
I specifically want your opinion.
So
tell me the real events that happened. I don't want this whitewash crap.
The highlights were I wish we would have been on stream because it was the Brothers Grudge match at Adepticon.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very good list that he's been practicing with a long time, and I decided a week ago to start playing Guardians again with Nova. So I was already kind of at a disadvantage.
And he's using pay-to-win characters too. They're like $100 each.
Pay to win. Fair. He's a pay-to-winner, dude.
Pay-to-win player over here.
But really the highlights were I just don't think I brought a good... Red Skull 2 is so good. He is such a good model. I had nothing that I could really get into him that did anything. I think Zach and I's game, this made me laugh. Zach, we played for like 20 minutes. Like we've played against each other for so much.
3 rounds.
We don't even look at each other. We're just like, okay, I do this, because we've played against each other so much.
Yeah.
And especially that list, like I knew what he's going to do. He pretty much knew what I was going to do. The only really good thing I had in my favor was Nova. Hint, hint, great model. I think one shot M'Baku did 5 damage to King T'Challa and did 5 or 6 damage to... off a single beam attack, I dazed 3 models.
You dazed T'Challa and M'Baku off the beam.
Yes, I was just like, goodbye. And I was like, oh, that felt good. And I was like, I might actually be in this. Because I knew I was not going to win on points. I had to go for the table. But then I did end up losing just because the flank against Red Skull fell apart. He got some good dazes off. And I was just sitting there like so amped that I didn't slow down to think. And he ended up like winning by picking up a hammer that I should have had Mighty Thor, who is also phenomenal in Guardians, by the way, because you get 4 rerolls of the winging it off a charge. And I should have moved over, picked up the hammer, and seen if he could actually kill her, because she had taken no damage, right, Zach?
Yeah, you recaled out of her getting 1 shot.
He did. He also, I think you did your Wakanda for. He played stupid 3 Wakanda cards on 1 turn. Wakanda'd forever, all 3 attacks into Nova and did 1 damage, I believe.
How did Wakanda Forever make it through the rotation? That's
I have no idea.
Crazy.
I would,
so
as a
good.
Wakanda player, I would tell you,
no.
I don't know how it made it through, or didn't get changed to 2 cost.
Leap at the wheel.
But yeah.
Right.
Next year, what's that? What's the Webs card that everyone hates? All webbed up. You're gonna tell me that's what's next.
All webbed up is way worse than Wakanda Forever.
Oh yeah,
way worse.
It's the most busted card in the game. All webbed up.
It's a candidate.
No. Wakanda Forever is way better than All Webbed Up. You guys think All Webbed Up's better than Wakanda Forever?
No, I'm
The
saying
amount
All
of
Webbed Up
dice
is
that you can get added from All Webbed Up is absurd. If you
No,
do
I mean
correctly.
Wakanda Forever creates like 4 attacks. Like that's more.
I think
I guess.
but
King
you have
T'Challa didn't exist. It'd be a
I mean, if they
common-
didn't have their amazing character, just imagine if Webbs had Wakanda Forever, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to impact webbing you out of turn," and you're like, "Fuck that!" Like,
as a
Yeah.
web
Oh, that's
player
disgusting.
now, I'm okay
with
with it.
Shuri and Black Panther 1 and M'Baku.
Yeah.
It definitely can't just be like, all right, bye.
it can, but they don't scenario rush quite like Webbs do.
No.
Because they don't have the steals on top of it. If they're stealing and pushing, it's like, I don't know how you're supposed to score points. It's like last activate, because they're already wider than you in every game. So it's like last activation, it's like everyone pushes you off. Miles kicks you, everyone. And it's like, And like Black Cat
Impact
like
webbing,
fucking
impact
claws
webbing,
your eyes
impact
out. Like, okay, Zach, do you have anything to add to the Yosh's very, very accurate breakdown?
I think I would reiterate what he said of like I don't think he realized the points at the moment, and I think if we play another round, he's got priority, and I've got a lot of days.
Talk about the
and
terrible
been
board.
Injured. But yeah, we'll talk about the board.
Think about it
so
this
it was
way.
like
So
one
if-
more round, and I think I almost died. Like just everybody KOs. Just
So
about.
if you flip the extract, it goes 15-9 instead of 16-8. Do you think you could have made up the 6 points?
Yes.
He probably could have been close, but it would have been. He may have been able to
'Cause-
start with Nova or Mighty Thor and KO 3 models at once because they'd all taken damage.
Okay. So because it's Mayor Fist, you could, if you daze enough people, you can obviously lock out the blues. But if he has any red, he just runs away and wins.
Red Skull 2 did have one, yeah, so I could have just ran off.
So you'd have to stop him before he can just activate and double move.
I believe in the heart of the cards, Brandon, and
Alright,
I would
that's
have made
fair.
it possible.
I didn't watch the game. Apparently it was a 4-minute game. I don't see a lot of those, so it's good to know.
We only played 3 rounds. So the other thing, like Josh alluded to, the terrain on the board. This is the first board I think I've played on in a long time that was bad. It had 2 Sives 5s, and one of them was like stacking like ice. I don't. It almost looked like it was supposed to be like a
terrace
glacier.
Oh,
rocks.
you guys played on the ice table?
And
Yeah.
you couldn't put a medium base on almost any point on it at all, and it was in the dead center of the table where you couldn't even hardly move models to it, and there were 2 5s on the table, and so it was just a pain to have to work around that. But
they should just played Phoenix. God.
yeah, we can now. We got the card.
Oh,
So the only other anecdote I would add, and this was a theme I think in each of my games, is the ability with King T'Challa to stack Wisdom of the Ancestors and then Wakanda Forever with your whole team before anyone activates. Just has such an explosive impact on the round, especially when I played Red Skull 2 in just about every game also. So it's like I had T'Challa go. I think he didn't do very much into Josh this game, and then I was like, okay, well, I need to kill Nova right now, so I will choose T'Challa to actually activate. Had M'Baku play Jabari Chieftain to give him even more dice and counting skulls and rerolls, and he just becomes an unstoppable force where he's rolling 10 or 12 dice counting skulls with rerolls, and he just kind of rips apart whatever's next to him. And that's unfortunately what happened to Josh.
He reminds me a lot of like CGR and Malekith in their heyday when they were just able to activate first and just take complete control of the game from the first activation. Because you have Malekith charging in, throwing, killing 2 people, triggering leadership twice, and then also like, Midnight Phantasmagoria to shove everyone out of attack range. It's like you haven't gotten to make a single decision yet, and your list is already crippled.
You
like,
have to round that model. You have to take one model and daze him.
Yeah.
Hope you have priority and kill him, because otherwise, if he wakes up angry, and he's got the cards to back it up.
People also really underestimate how fast he is with the ability to bound or move off of the spender, and so they're like, oh, I'm very far away. It's like, well, I'll bound into spender range to move medium across the board and then now kill the thing that you thought was safe.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. Pay to win.
Yeah. I've only ever defended against him, like been able to take it on the chin with like Apex defenders. It was like Cable plus Zemo reroll buffing my Black Panther. Like he didn't die, but that's what it takes. It takes like block 5, and that's otherwise you're just dead.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think he'd be a way more ubiquitous model if he wasn't in a $120 box or whatever.
He also really needs that card for that. Like Wisdom of the Ancestors does really dial that up for a round for him.
Was that
he's much
3 attacks,
he's mortal on the turns. That's not up.
Yep.
Is that from the Namor and Bast box?
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
And there's
That's right.
there's
I
another
do
bit
think
movement.
Parker's correct in that if it wasn't in the panel to play box or whatever it's called, the
Rivals panel box.
Rivals panel box, that it would be different because so few people bought that one after the bad taste they had from the Weapon X box that I think, honestly, I've only ever seen 2 or 3 people even put that dude on the table. And so it's just all Theorycraft until then.
Yep.
And there is some... Without the card that gives him skulls, he absolutely dies like a wet paper blanket. Like, models that are much smaller points than him can just kill him.
Yeah.
So you don't even, and there are some above average like assassin types that will eat him without even looking twice. So the ability to remove him without him attacking back is actually more than out there. It's actually pretty common. And I think that's anybody who did pay for him and played him. I think a lot of people played him like a beefier 5 or even like his 4-point version, expecting him to be like that, and he wasn't. He just folds. So you have to play him like a blitz model, right? Like, and Zach has done a really good job of unlocking that potential. I think Zach, I think you play him precisely how he should be played. Like a blitzy, I'm going down, but I'm taking you with me, and you might go down before I do, and then I just run away.
Yeah, absolutely. He does not want to go. Like I think actually, anecdotally, that Wakanda kind of is glad that the E's are gone, at least him in particular, because they didn't really love the big fist fight in the middle. The Fisk and the wedding party and the intrusions, where you got to run to the middle, but they're kind of spread out different fights, is something he can really excel in. You know, if he gets deployed in the right spot and there's a model he can immediately take out, then he can absolutely just blitz some people apart. But he does not love running into things with DR or who stagger, or like, you know, who can just rip him apart back. Like, there's definitely some ways that he can just fall over. But I think E's being gone kind of helps raise his stocks some.
Cool. All right, CJ, tell me about round 3.
Round 3, my opponent was Sam. Didn't really talk to him a whole much. It was round 3. We're in the loser's bracket. It's time to wrap up some games and go home. At least that's how I was kind of feeling. So we kind of sat down. We rolled some dice. We ended up on Hammers and Macron. This is my second Hammers game.
Can I interrupt you for a second? I just want to say how prevalent these two missions seem to be based on what I'm looking at on Longshanks.
I think was it like the two most taken missions?
Yeah. So table 18 was Hammers, table 19 was Hammers, table 20 was Hammers, table 21 was Hammers, table 22 was you on Hammers, table 23 was also Hammers. What the fuck? So many Hammers in a straight line on the page. And also, like, two of them are playing in Crayon Crystals. Like, there's so many of these missions running around.
So I'll confess, I did. This is my Hammers. I brought it because
good.
A-Bomb can pick it up starting around. I think he can pick up 2 with movement correctly since he gets 2 power. But I don't think I've tried that out. Maybe that's my mistake. But either way, played Sam. It was 18. I brought a beautiful team of MODOK, A-Bomb, Wrecking Crew, and Loki. So it was 4 wide to his maybe 5, which kind of just gave me advantage the whole time. My dice went very well. I knocked him down to 1 model, and then the last round of the game, I took the Wrecking Crew for it to touch every crystal in 1 activation, which is beautiful. So I just flipped them all over back to me. Move, bulldoze, move. Had 3 of them, and that was the game. Sam was a fine opponent. My first victory of what I thought was going to be a 2-day tourney for me.
Yep. Alrighty, let's go to the final round of day 1.
So my final round, I got to play against Michael Bertrand, and we had actually bet earlier that day in the line for registration, and we actually talked a lot. So it was really cool to kind of like literally start the day. He was maybe the first MCP person I saw the entire day, and then it was the last person I got to play. That was pretty cool. Michael had he was, both of us were looking at 1 and 2 and going, let's just have some fun and have a good time, and we did. He was yet another person who does not see Hulkbuster very often, and so he saw Hulkbuster was in my list, but he saw Sam was there, and so he goes, okay, well, he's going to play Sam, and he's going to play wide. So I'm going to go ahead and we flipped over Mayor Fisk and Hammers, so we're going to fight.
Hammers,
so I'm going to so he's thinking to himself, I'm going to play Immortal Hulk, and this is First Avenger Steve, so Steve 3 in Avengers. So he had Thor 1, Immortal Hulk, and Steve. And he was going to play the priority game against Sam and try to bash all my guys into each other. It was a good plan if I was playing Sam on Fisk, but I threw down Hulk. And he's like, I don't know how this is going to go. And I'm sitting there going, I'm pretty sure how this is going to go.
You seem to think that I don't bust Hulks.
Yeah. It's in the name. And I took
what to that Hulk?
Yeah. It was... His Hulk was so sad The first time he attacked me, he goes, "Okay, I'm going to spend for the wild." I go, "Cool. I'm going to reduce with Built to Take It down to 2 damage." He goes, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "And then we're going to throw him into Black Panther." I go, "Okay, cool." Well, Black Panther dodges 3 minus 1, so Black Panther takes 1. And he goes, "Okay. Well, how much does Hulkbuster take?" He takes 1, right? I go, "No." And he goes,
No.
"Huh."
Welcome to dumb damage reduction.
Yeah. And so then I proceeded, because he did just enough damage to Hulkbuster, of course. He did like 1 or 2 damage to Hulkbuster with all the whole Immortal Hulk activation. I managed to throw rocket punches at him. And every time I threw rocket punches, he's like, and he started to give
Meteor
himself
punch.
power. I'm like, "No power." And he goes, "Oh, yeah. Dang." And so
Yeah.
eventually Immortal Hulk got flipped over to his other side with only 5 health. And, yeah, it was. It also didn't help that his Immortal Hulk hung out next to his Steve, and so I kept throwing like Immortal Hulk like into Steve with the rocket punches, and so Steve just kept falling down to his own Hulk.
It
was
Meteor Punch.
Sorry, yeah,
Meteor Punch.
Yeah, Meteor Punch. So it was pretty fun getting to bust Hulks, and he admitted, he goes, "I did not know what Hulkbuster did. I didn't realize what his name was so apropos. Now I know. Don't do that." And I was like, yeah, that was fun. But what was really important was not only my good game, but the fact that with my 2 wins over the whole tournament and the extra tickets they got to incentivize people to play all 4 rounds, which I thought was a really cool idea. FFG actually said, like, let's see if we can, incentivize people to not just automatically drop as soon as they lose. So they gave people a giant stack of tokens just for the prize table, just for playing all 4 rounds. And so I ended up getting exactly the right number of tokens to get my X-Men Range Ruler set. So I got what I wanted out of the day, which was 4 really good games versus quality people who were having a good time. And I got the only prize I wanted. And on top of that, Hulkbuster did get to bust Hulk at least once.
Number 1 goal, 25th place.
Yeah.
Goal achieved.
Yeah. I wasn't sad about my placement. I was actually I had a really good time.
That's it was a 72-person event, which is a great turnout. So good job. I mean, top third is pretty happy.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Mr. Zach.
All right, I went into I've been going into round 4. I was 3-0, and I was excited, trying to like kind of keep the nerves down. I was really hoping to qualify for Saturday, and 3-1 meant you could be on the fence. So I was really hoping I could finish it off. I ended up playing against Benjamin Dorney. He was playing Sam Wilson Avengers, and he was a really great opponent. I mean, I think he had a really, really strong list. We played on Inhuman Weapons and Deadline. I think the Inhuman Weapons were kind of tough that, he was going to benefit that I was trying to kill him the whole time. But as he died, he had to drop extracts. And so I think that's kind of what was tough, was the Sam leadership. I think this may have been the first time I've played into it with Wakanda lists that I've been playing. It definitely changed a handful of activations that I had, when someone who's suddenly in range is now out of range. So that was something tough that I think I had to move around a little bit more than I normally did. But having Red Skull 2 and the Grunt sit back on my home deadline point, and then being able to kind of fight on each side, Red Skull 2 was able to handle Bill for most of the game, which, he probably should, counting blanks and punching through DR, and that kind of meant I had kind of a whole half of the board kind of locked in with just Red Skull 2 pretty much on his own. Okoye was over there, but was just kind of standing around. And on the other side, it was, King T'Challa taking care of the 4-threat Black Widow and Sam and Toad kind of all on his own, while M'Baku stood there and just made sure he didn't die. So it ended up being 19-15. It was really close. I think we had a couple opportunities where he had a couple opportunities late on some attacks that just didn't really go his way, for taking Red Skull 2 off the board, or for taking Okoye off the board. And he wasn't, he was playing Quicksilver and Sam and Bill, so he wasn't necessarily playing a heavy attrition list. But he just had a couple attacks that didn't really go his way, and that meant that I was able to just kind of keep collecting points. So came out of it very happy, very excited. Was also able to get some stuff that I wanted. So I really wanted the Gambit card, and I wanted some new yellow dice that I could collect. So I was really happy to get those for day one. And I think I had a really great time.
Are you going to eBay your dice?
No, I got 10 of them so I could trade 5 with Aaron to get some blue ones. But they are going for absurd prices on eBay, as are the score tokens, the range rulers, and the Phoenix card. Parky, you went and got your Phoenix card, right? Before you left, I
have
hope.
to check.
No, I don't know what that means.
Oh.
Parker's out probably $200 now, because that's what I'm looking for.
How much do you think the yellow MCP dice are going for, Parker?
Each.
Each?
$35 a piece. I don't know.
Yeah, it's rookie numbers. It's $50 a piece. $50 each.
Zach, I gave you all my
I
tickets.
tell everyone
I want
every
them
year,
back.
just spend all of your points on dice, eBay them, and buy what you actually wanted, and you'll make $100. like you could have, if you played MCP all weekend and you only bought dice, you could have paid for your whole trip.
Well, I mean, now we know. I mean, you told us it was our mistake.
I did.
I did
say it. All right,
but then you have to go through the trouble of trying to sell them. You have to hope somebody
people will
buys them.
stab you in an alleyway for them. Like it's not hard
I'll
to
just
sell
the
them.
competition.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have zero interest in turning collectibles that I can only get at the thing I'm spending money to go to into money. If I wanted to play this game for money, I would.
it's not
like that's not. What
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but like within reason, like if I'm going, I don't need yellow dice. I don't need special range rulers. Like I don't need any of that shit. Some of it's cool. I'd like to have some of it, but if you're telling me like if I win a game, I get $50, then I'm like, sure. Like I'll just turn that into $50, and I don't need to get it, but like it's a nice thing on top. Like,
I think that's exactly a good sentiment. When I looked at the table. That last year, I really wanted the blue dice because I love blue. So I was like, I wanted the blue dice. This year, I didn't want the yellow dice, and if there was nothing else on that table, I would have just turned them into dice and maybe found somebody. And I am really lowbrow. The thought of taking a picture and putting them on eBay is just right out of the question for me. I don't give a shit. But I would if somebody wanted to pay for me right then and there, or afterwards they saw the dice.
There's always people buying points for dollars, and then so that because they're going to do the same thing. They're just going to take all the money they get at the end of the weekend. They're going to go buy dice. They're going to put them on eBay.
So I got to know, what is this Phoenix card that I missed? What happened?
I'm very sorry to break your heart with this. They made it so everyone who played in the heats, if you came up on Saturday when they did the worlds of the top 32, you could show them your name or tell them your name, give them your badge, and they had a Phoenix card that in the bottom corner had like a gold like badge that said Adepticon 2025. I think the whole card was foil, Josh, CJ. I think the whole card was foil.
You
no, it is literally the Phoenix card with a gold stamp on it. Guess how much that's going for?
I bet $20.
Nope.
Add an extra 0.
No way.
They were only giving them out there. So only the 150-ish.
The top 32?
No. People who played in either heat. So like they only gave out like 140 of them total.
I'd say it's probably closer to 100.
Yeah.
I think 100.
Yeah, I'm flipping mine for sure. So.
Yeah, I would do that for sure.
Yeah, that sounds crazy pants. Why would you? I mean, if you're going to buy the Phoenix, you'll just have the card. That's strange.
But it won't have the symbol in the
It won't have the gold stamp.
I have my special stamp.
But the stamp is special if you were there. I'm sorry,
Parker. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Oh, sorry. The one I see on eBay is $250.
Oh yeah, see that's not worth it then.
No.
$50 more.
I could see somebody wanting it now because it's early, but there's no way it retains that value, right? Like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's basically a crypto.
It's just a collector's thing, right? Where it's like there is a finite amount. There's basically 120 of them that exist anywhere. And so it's like, I was there. Like, that's why people are valuing
I never understood the X-Wing craze over the limited promo stuff either, but it was there. And so I don't get it, but people fucking love that shit. And in 2 months, it'll be worth basically nothing. And so just fucking wait. Like, I honestly would sell mine and then buy it back. Like, I would buy one on eBay in 3 months after it's
buy
crashed.
it after it depreciated.
Yeah, I was like, I'll sell it now and rebuy it later, and I'll make $150 in the process. I'm like, you fucking idiots.
You're just describing like what every stockbroker does every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's day trading.
Yeah. Dude, stockbrokers wish they had these margins. Like, are you kidding? They'd make billions. All right, moving on. Josh is next.
So side note, I think I'm going to start a back alley league behind the Geekery. We're going to play MCP for money.
MCP for money.
Cold hard cash.
Would that be like a back alley league?
There's a man in a trench coat. He'll take your money.
Not a street level.
You do
league.
a secret knock. Yeah.
Not a limbo league. Back alley.
It has to be back alley.
But my round 4, I played a Mr. Justin Ziperian, and he was playing a good but pretty generic Steve 1 list with Shang-Chi, Miles, Steve 1, Iron Man, Hawkeye. We were playing on Inhumans to play Weaponry and Extremis, which I have never had. It probably means I'm a bad player, but whenever I play Guardians, I'm terrible on Ds, and I always have a bad game. And I just couldn't get anything to go through. My dice attack weren't attacking. I don't think I brought a super good list. And then he had Hawkeye, who could just ping my guys from range 5 and then move back for 1 power. So I lost once again 16-8 in my second game in a row, which feels bad, but that's the game. And I'm probably could have pulled it out because I had Mighty Thor just beat the shit out of Iron Man 1 and Steve 1. She one-shot Steve, and then I one-shot Iron Man. I was like, cool, pick up your points, and this is my side of the board. So 5-threat basically dueled 7-threat, and it worked out for me. But then my final attack of the game that really mattered, I needed to daze Shang-Chi, and then I needed to kill Miles. So I used Nova, and he had his first big fail. Moved him, got the extra dice, extra power, and I rolled 3 skulls, 4 shields, 2 blanks, and then whatever is left out of that, like hits for 10 dice. And Miles did Miles things and blocked 5, so it didn't matter. And then Shang-Chi, there was not a way for me to hit him and be outside of 3. And so Shang-Chi just full blocked everything, and I was like, well, after that happened, if you're good, we can just call it. Like, you clearly have this game. You need to score like 2 points, and the one thing that I needed to happen didn't. So we just ended up scoring out the game, and I went 2-2. I did not get any swag. I gave all my swag to my teammates because there was a lot of passion there for things they wanted. And I had failed our Lisan al-Gaib, who is Parker, and not made it to the final round to get him. I was trying to get him the Wolverine card. They had a special art Wolverine card, and I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I failed. So I'm going to walk into the desert and start a back alley league. That's what my future looks like.
I really appreciate that.
CJ, how was your final round?
Oh boy, once again. A fun game of MCP. My opponent, awesome. Becca, she came up from Michigan with her husband and some other people. I think she was part of that group. That one person that was watching your... another gal was watching your Wakanda game, Zach. I think she was part of that same group. Zach had an admirer trying to learn his ways, unfortunately, for the rest of us.
Copied his exact list.
But I played Midnight Suns into Intrusions. So that meant the Immortal Hulk came out, and boy, that's a fun model to play against sometimes. You can imagine how close I got to killing him before he got to activate and remove all of his health.
Very?
One wound away was the correct answer.
Ooh.
Almost killed him, then he came back.
So you had Prio when he flipped?
Yes!
Oh,
and Bob almost killed him. Guess what?
I've never seen Immortal Hulk killed immediately after he flips. Every single time that the other person has Prio, dice fail. And it's like, not like it was close. It should have been like 95% dead. And they're like, nope, just like 0 and 8. I guess you get to go. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, A-Bomb got so freaking close. I left him on 1 wound left, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then Ghost Rider moved over, healed him back, and I was like, fuck. Because the only person that was going to be able to hurt him was A-Bomb. Because I think I brought Loki, and Loki was limp dickin' against Man-Thing. Man-Thing also super tough, turns out. Loki, terrible matchup. And then the Wrecking Crew just got bodied by Blade and Ghost Rider from Siege of Darkness, I believe. That was just curtains for them. She played an incredible game, and I just did poorly, and she kept apologizing. She's like, I feel so bad. And I'm like, no. This is how this is supposed to go. Don't worry. She played very well. Very good opponent. I gave her the sportsmanship award when they asked to, because I was like, she apologized the whole time and she whooped my ass. So it's pretty sportsmanlike, I would say.
Very sports.
But another fun game. I did what I wanted to do. I jammed A-Bomb every game. A-Bomb is a very fun model. I think his sculpt's super awesome. He's very fun to play until you play a poison immune model against you, and then it's just... Then you start realizing he really has something. He really needs to be able to poison the opponents. Like, that's such a huge part of his effectiveness. Like, I'm going to have to retire him with this new Inhuman shit coming out, because...
Yeah.
Turns out, one of the reasons I suffered against Dutch was that I was just like, boy, if I could poison Black Bolt and Medusa here, I'd be in such a great position.
I saw a lot of bombs out there. I didn't see them
shit
particularly
ton.
excelling, but there was a lot of them there.
I think a lot of people brought criminals with Kingpin, if I'm not mistaken, if looking back at the rosters, which makes a lot of sense. I think Kingpin
there seems to be a lot.
Probably has an advantage when you're not familiar with their crisis, right?
True.
It's just easier to be like, I'm not trying to play this. Kingpin can just stand here and score out, hopefully.
Yeah.
Surprised about the amount of... and they did... There's one that went all the way to the top 8, right, Zach?
A Kingpin? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Graham, is the name. Did really well. But other than that, first Adepticon I've ever been to, I had a great time. Very surprised at the quality of opponents. Everyone I played was super awesome. I didn't have a single issue. We all understood the rules very well, and they were all very... everyone was there for the same reason, to have fun, and which was why I was there. So every single one of my games is quality. Which is nice.
I've been going to Adepticon since like 2008, I think, and I don't think in that entire time I've had more than one or two bad opponents.
I mean, it made a believer out of me.
Yeah. No, yeah, Adepticon is like mecca for wargaming. It's everyone there wants to be the best wargamer they can be, I think, and that's really great.
Yeah, it's a huge shame that we only brought MCP to play. Next year, when we go back up, we're bringing a couple
that's one thing we learned is I'm going to bring MCP.
Bring all your shit.
I'm bringing Trench Crusade, and I'm a Blood Bowl player now, so I guess
there was a whole Trench Crusade room that you didn't even go.
Oh yeah,
no.
We walked around.
We were sitting front row of the little talk they did.
We waited in line.
I went and talked to the creators for 30 minutes and got signed artwork. I did all the Trench Crusade things.
We're Trench Crusade players.
We're
also web players now.
I did not play Trench Crusade. Everything but that.
We talked about it. We were like, yeah, we're bringing our stuff. And then we get up there. We're like, did you bring your shit? No. Okay, cool. Well,
yeah, it's very different because if you've been to mini-cons, you're like, well, we're just going to play in the event, leave, right? And you're like, well, I mean, no. Like, there's a million and a half things to do. Yeah. It's like when you go to Disneyland. It's like, we're just going to ride a few rides and go home. You're like, no, you're not. Like, you're going to be so sad if you do that.
I will also say I learned cash is not king.
Oh, my God.
You should bring a card because I just brought cash and no one takes cash.
They looked at you like you're...
So I had to keep borrowing people's cards. Yeah, they're like, I was like, I'm going to pay for this. Like, do you have a card? It's like, I have cash. They're like, your money's no good here. And I was like, okay.
Your real money's not good
I'll be back.
Had him play Josh's piggy.
I think I was in the middle of a game and he walked up and was like, hey, can I have your card real quick? And I was like, oh, all right, man, sure, whatever.
It's so weird that you don't have a debit card. That's honestly so weird. You're like, I live off the grid. I'm like, no, you don't. Like,
no, he's got an iPhone. He's got like the most anti-grid phone.
I'm an old man. I've been an old man since I was born. I know how to do things one way. I've paid my rent in cash for years. It's just who I am. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I remember back in the day when like the only thing you could have was an ATM card. And so it was like you could take money out of your bank with it, but you couldn't spend money with it. Yeah, I remember when debit cards first became a thing when I was a kid. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about the heats real quick. I don't want to dwell on it too much. So, do we know for sure that they did not initially post that you couldn't play in both?
So, I went back and tried to look. through my email and stuff to see if they send out like an addendum email. And I think, I hate to say the onus is probably on us, because it probably said, when you clicked on read more, it did come down and it did say, hey, you can only sign up for one heat. We were stupid and new. So we probably
it's your first time going to a large con, and so you just go, oh, there's 2 events. It's Heat 1, Heat 2. Obviously, I'll play in both. And so you guys signed up for both heats. All of you did. And then we're told on the site that you can only play in one, despite them selling you tickets for both and adding you to both events on Longshanks. Obviously, that was unfortunate, and you guys would have obviously made different plans. Like, if you were only playing in one heat, there was no reason to be there on Thursday. So you guys, like, bought a hotel and everything and didn't need it. You left a day early. You didn't need it. And then because of that, you were just kind of hanging out on Friday with nothing to do.
I will say, I did have a great time just hanging out because I got to go down and talk to all the Infamous guys, see the Judgment games you guys were playing. I got to hover over my little brother's shoulder and watch him play on Saturday. And, like, I got to... there's, like, I only watch a couple content creators, but almost all of them were there. So I got to go, like, shake their hand and be like, hey, I love your videos. Like, you make cool stuff. So it was not too bad. And our Airbnb was above a bar.
Fantastic Airbnb.
And once I lost, I was like, I can just go get bombed every night, dude. They gave me buy one, get one frees. So I was just double fisting beers below our Airbnb.
And they took cash.
And so I just kind of went and got a buzz every night and made friends in Milwaukee. So
very cool. Yeah, I want to take this moment as well. I'm sure Parker would agree. I want to shout out everyone who came by and said hi to us over the weekend. There was many people that we met that were fans of the show and have been for a long time. And so many of them told us that we're like the only podcast they listen to anymore. And it's good to know that the endless effort and hours of time that we spend on this thing is not wasted. So we very much appreciate you guys coming by and saying hi. Please always do so if you think you want to. I'm terrible with names. I remember people, not names. But I do remember Chris at the Death Ray design booth was very friendly. He said he was a fan of the show. Obviously, I think it's Jake, Parker's painter, gave me a little present for being a fan. That was great. I have some new D&D dice now. They're very cool. So many people that we met over the weekend. I want to say there's another one. Oh, I got to shake hands with Mo again. Mo is like one of our longest time fans. I think I was the only one that got to see him though. He was playing X-Wing. But yeah, so many people I met over the weekend that, because I only wore my Infamous shirt the one day I played in an event. So I think most people didn't recognize me, but still a lot of people came and said hi.
Yeah, this is by far the most recognized I've ever been in Adepticon because of the shirt. It was actually the only day I didn't wear mine was the day you wore yours, and when we were together a lot, we were recognized, which was very cool. I did not expect that. So yes, thank you so much to everybody who listens, and it was really fun to meet you. We are like this in real life, and so we love to talk about MCP and models and Adepticon. So please interrupt our, within reason, interrupt our games. Tell us that you appreciate it, and we'd love to talk to you about stuff. It is always a ton of fun to meet anybody who appreciates the cast.
There was no gentleman I met.
If you've ever wanted your own personalized Parker rant about why he loves Hulkbuster and Supergiant, it's available. You just have to find him and say Supergiant 3 times, and he'll tell you about it. I promise.
Yeah.
Supergiant? Where? Supergiant? Where?
I like Supergiant also. That's not fair.
Now I have to ask you, Zach. Speaking of things that I love, what did you do with your Wolverines card? What happened to it?
Oh, that was only for like the actual top 8. It wasn't in the top 32, sadly. I know. I'm very sad.
Whoa, hold on. Wait. You're telling me the prize for making top 8 at Worlds was a Wolverines Tactics card?
Because it's
there
as
was
strong
a number
as
of
every
all
other
time.
Tactics card.
It's the best Tactics card. It's stronger than Wakanda Forever. I mean,
I'm pretty sure we decided that was the same thing as Bill and Thor's card, right? It's the same card.
It is.
Parker's established that a number of times,
Yeah, it is exactly the same.
Stronger,
as Brother Knight.
actually.
When they release 6th Threat Wolverine, I'm sure they'll have to ban that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Helverine's coming, dude. I'm telling you, Helverine. You heard it here now.
They're gonna
Is
make
that a
5
thing?
more Logans, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an X-Force leader, Logan, sitting on Dallas Kemp's painting table, and they're just waiting the 3 years to release it or something.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and try and wrap this up real quick. Zach, I believe you were the only one of the group to make the cuts. So you played on Saturday. Why don't you run us through your games real quick?
Yeah, so I played on Saturday. It was 3 rounds, 3 great opponents. First round, I got to play into Red Skull 2 Hydra, and he ran Sleeper Agent Hulk. So that was very fun, just getting tossed around with no response to it. That game really swung hard on King T'Challa doing an attack into Hulk that dealt 11 damage and KO'd him in round 3. So after that, it was kind of mopping up. We ended up scoring 13-13 because A-Bomb got KO'd by the Fisk for me to win kind of in between rounds. So that was unique. Round 2 played against Ben Rightmad Lalka. Sorry, Ben, if I messed up your last name. He was a phenomenal opponent. It was probably one of the most fun games I've ever had. He was playing Apocalypse, and we had a great back and forth. It was 19-13. At one point in time, it was 14-2, and he was apologizing that it was 14-2 and just how poorly it was going. The next round, it was 15-9, and so I had an opportunity to swing it back and just wasn't able to finish off Apocalypse. But Ben was one of the most fun opponents I've ever had, and he ended up finishing second, so I didn't feel, no shame in losing to him. And then the third game I played against Apocalypse again, Johnny Aguias. He was a phenomenal opponent. He'd never played against Wakanda before, so I unfortunately had to break him into some of the stuff that King T'Challa can do. And King T'Challa was very mean to both Honey Badger and Iceman very early in that game. But he was a great opponent. We had a lot of fun. And kind of came out of it in the same way that CJ said, like, just met a lot of wonderful people. It was a really great time. I ended up finishing 9th and kind of missing out on some tiebreakers because of VPs and strength of schedule, but felt like I played the best that I could have and had a really great time and met a lot of phenomenal people. So it was a really, really fun time. And I think Saturday was interesting because there was more people around watching. So I remember before one game, there was a lady who came up and like took a picture of my roster and was like, "What's your name?" And then was like, "Oh, I used your list." And then so she like not too close, but kind of like sat back a little bit, like a few feet, and just like watched me play 70% of a game, and then ended up talking to Josh, and she was like, "I saw this list, it looked cool and fun. I wanted to figure out. I have no idea what the hell's going on," and so she was like trying to watch me to figure out what the hell I'm doing, which is a bold strategy because I don't know what I'm doing. So, but that was cool of just like seeing the people kind of watching and seeing what was going on. So that was a really cool experience.
Very cool.
I did want to ask Zach. So you didn't make the top 8. Did Ben went? He was 2, right? Right, man was second place.
He ended up, he lost in DeLuca to the finals. He won the
That's
top 32, or he did that, and then he finished second.
Yeah. Then I think not to toot my own horn, but I did lose to 2 of the top. I think I lost to the 3rd best player, the 6th ranked player. So just so you guys know, my first 2 rounds were very difficult.
DJ got immediately thrown to the wolves.
Well,
I appreciate that.
It's so rough to lose the first round and be like, okay, cool, I can shake off the rest. I get into it, and then you fight literally like the 2nd ranked Inhumans player with Abomination. It was just like, man, if that's a roll. That's like a nat 1 roll on my opponent. Basically, it was just terrible.
I definitely sympathize with that. I was famous in War Machine for I would always play like one of the 3 hardest matchups possible in the first round every fucking tournament, and so a lot of those are like just absolute dogfights, and you're like, oh man, and even if you come out with a victory, it's still like, oh my gosh, I'm so emotionally and mentally drained after the first round. It's like basically you're playing the finals in the first round, then you have to play 4 more games. You're like, oh, I can't do this, and so those are always rough. And a lot of people put way too much emphasis on like the outcome or like the result. And so it's like, sure, it's like maybe you lost a game of MCP. It's like, that doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel about how you played. Like, if you got, like, doesn't matter what the matchup was. Like, hey, do you feel you could have played better? Did you play worse than you should have? Better than you should have? Like, all that's what matters. And so understanding, how well you're performing in the situations you're handed is very, very important to analyze. Analyzing the fact that you went 0-1 in the first round is way too many people harp on it, and it's not a big deal. Half the people lose, nothing you can do about it.
I think it's, technically you should, if you're a competent enough player, losing the first round means you have a better chance of winning the second round, right? Now you both lost. Now you guys have you kind of can reflect a lot easier, I think. Because there's been a couple times where I've had it where it's like, okay, cool. Well, first round's gone. I was rusty. Coming into the second round, I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
I learned to not pick up a list a week beforehand and have faith that they won't take away the list I'd been practicing for 3 months.
So you learn to not have faith they won't take away your list.
Yeah, next year, because if they're doing a new crisis pack every year.
Right before Adepticon? Yes.
Right before Adepticon, I will not be practicing a list for multiple months. I'll just wait. I'll just wait for that to come out.
The one thing I've learned is just keep playing webs and they'll never nerf it. So
we are
a webs
players
TTS
now.
player. Yeah, I play webs on TTS.
So it sounds like you guys are all convinced that Adepticon is good and you guys are going back.
Definitely will be back.
Yeah, two thumbs up. It was definitely the best moment, I think, of my competitive miniatures career. There's no way every year now I'm gonna be like, we gotta go. You guys are crazy. Yeah. We have to go.
Yeah, ever since the first time I went, it's like Parker was saying, it's the year starts in March. Let's start planning the year in March, and then you fill out everything else around it, and it has sacrificed to nothing. It is the number one priority, and nothing else is okay until Adepticon is taken care of, and then you move out from there.
Yeah, much to the chagrin of my personal life, that's definitely how it's going to be going forward.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for coming on and chatting about your event. Hopefully everyone enjoyed listening. There was a lot of news, obviously, that dropped from Adepticon. We'll be talking about that next week on Infamous. Or we'll also have more Adepticon stories in the Infamous episode. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you had a good time. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Zach.
And Josh.
And CJ.
And you just listened to The Harvesters Go to Adepticon.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down Infamous.